Terranoth, a great kingdom that once ruled this land, but now only a few far-flung baronies reluctantly stand against the Stygian forces that would engulf the remnants of its people. Master Thorn was educated at the university in Greyhaven, but rather than set roots in that ancient city of learning, his heart drew him to the remote villages and brave people who made their homes amongst the endless wilds of Terranoth. He is an infrequent yet welcome visitor in the holdfast of several barons, and he has their ear concerning the governance of their people. Master Thorn has begun to warn both lord and peasant of a rising threat, an evil wind in the soul of the earth, that is stirring the fell and savage things just beyond the borders of civilization. The dread necromancer, Vorakesh, roams Terranoth, leaving a blight of death and destruction in his wake. He must be stopped, or soon every barony and free city will be overrun by the undead.
Hey everyone, welcome back to AntLab Games. Today we're going to do a playthrough of Runebound, 3rd edition by Fantasy Flight Games. The scenario we're going to play is called The Corpse King, and we are going to be hunting a necromancer. So as you can see, the board is pretty much set up. There really isn't much to do other than lay down these tokens. Let's quickly, we can go over the character that I'm going to be playing with and some of the setup requirements for this scenario. Okay, so for the purposes of this scenario, we will be using these tokens, two-sided. The white side will represent companions for my hero. The black side will represent zombies, and we'll go over what that means when we encounter that during the game. So aside from that, the only other thing I need to do at this point is to every hero starts with one companion, so I will go ahead and give our hero one companion. And speaking of heroes, let's see who will be our champion for this game. Alright, so the character I chose for this playthrough is going to be Master Thorn, who is your basic mage character. So what he gets, aside from his 3 combat tokens, is 2 gold. He gets the white token for the scenario, so this is a companion, and we'll see what that means to us as we progress through this scenario. And he also gets a starting hand size of 4. So what we do is we deal out 4 cards from the action deck. And what these 4 cards are going to be are our action cards, and we get to determine, throughout the play, which ones we want to level up and be able to learn and equip. And the way these skill cards work is basically each of them will have a symbol with the corresponding attribute for each type. So with Master Thorn, he has 0 body, 3 mind, and 2 spirit. Those are the 3 different attributes: body, mind, and spirit. So you're allowed to learn as many of these types of skills as you have the respective amounts of that attribute. So for example, these body cards I can't learn because I don't have any points in that attribute, but this spirit card ability I could learn, and I could learn 2 of these at max and equip them and use them throughout the play. But I'm going to need trophies in order to learn them, right? And we'll get trophies through adventuring. But one of Master Thorn's starting setup abilities is train for free, so I'm going to go ahead and train for free. And the way you train in this game is you draw up to your maximum hand size, regardless of how many cards you have in your hand. So I'm going to get to draw another 4, but out of these 8 cards now, I've got to determine which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to get rid of. And I could tell you, because I don't have any body, I'm going to get rid of every body card, and I have quite a few. So I'm left with 3 that are for mind and spirit. So like ambitious would give me one more to my hand limit. Meditation, whenever you rest, you may also train for free, so that's pretty cool. And offertory, which is gain 1 gold whenever you gain a trophy. That's actually quite nice too. So I can't train these, but I can actually use these for exertion, which we'll go through that later. But the rest of these I have to discard now, and I'll put them in the discard pile. And this will be my starting hand for the game. So that's that. His setup is done. Flip him over. He's got some more stats here. So he's got 3 movement, so we get to roll 3 movement die for his movement. He's got 8 health, and his max size, hand size of 4, which we saw. So now we'll put him on his starting location, and then decide what we want to do for our first turn. And I'll go through the actions we can take on each turn. All right, so each character card will have an image of either a town, a shrine, or a stronghold. And in this case, it's a town. So Master Thorn can start in any town on the map. And as you can see here, that's the town symbol. And every location, not every location, but there are locations throughout the map that have one of these 3 different symbols on it. So we can start them in any one of those locations. We just need to pick a town. And as you see, Brightvale here is a town. And it may not be a bad place to start. It kind of makes sense thematically. Brightvale, Wizard, Master Thorn. So I have Master Thorn's figure, and I'm going to just start him in Brightvale. And that's where he will begin his adventure. All right, so the round order is going to go pretty basic. It's essentially I get to do 3 actions, right? Any combination of actions up to 3 of them, right? And I can do the same action twice. And then we're going to advance the round timer. Well, there's a I guess you can call it sort of a threat track or a story track. So I will advance the story track 1, and then I will get to take 3 more actions. And the actions are all basically take up 1 action, right? So, like I said, they take 1 action point each, so I'm allowed to do 3 of them. So, one of those being I can move, so I could either roll movement dice up to my movement number, or I can forego rolling and I can move 1 hex in any direction, regardless of the terrain type. And when you roll the dice, you just have to roll matching terrain types. This one being wild, to the location you want to go to, and you'll see that as we do it. You can shop if you go to any of the main cities. We have gear and assets, laid out and populated for each of the 4 cities that we'll be able to purchase with gold. And as you saw, we started with 2 gold, which isn't much. We can adventure, and adventure is any one of these adventure sites where these tokens are. And there's 3 types of adventures that are represented with different colors. So you'll have the orange being combat, the green being exploration, and the purple being social. Those are just different types of adventures that we go on. Those cost 2 actions. That's the only one that costs 2. We could either we can also rest. So if you rest, you'll heal depending on where you are, whether you're in the wilderness or whether you're in a location like a town, like I am now. Will determine how much you heal, and we'll probably be doing quite a bit of that during this playthrough. And the final action is train. And training, you saw, we draw up to our hand size, and then that's if you want to refill your hand with cards or if you want to sort of replace what you have. To actually learn these skills does not cost an action, so we don't have to worry about that. So with that, I guess we could just jump right into our first turn and see what we have to do in order to defeat the Corpse King. Alright, so Master Thorn is very close to some adventuring sites, so we're essentially in a race against time in this game, so we've got to try to power up as quickly as we can. So we can defeat and be strong enough to defeat the Corpse King by the end of Act 2. Now we're at the very beginning of Act 1. So what I think is probably the best thing for us to do at this point is to move. And I could roll dice, but I don't need to. I only want to move 1 hex, and to move 1 hex you can just move without rolling. So I'll move into this adventure zone, and we'll exhaust the token. And now we have to resolve a green exploration and adventure card. So I draw the first card, and it is a quest. The quest is called The Narrow Passage. Only a madman would venture through the small mountain pass without wings. So for one action, I am able to explore Madman Pass. And what I'll have to do is roll, my 3 exploration die and try to match, these symbols for each of these options. And then depending on what I roll, I can resolve them, with the text below, and we'll keep that covered until we actually get to it. So what I need to do is locate this location on the map, and that's where I need to head in order to resolve this quest. So I have to keep that in mind. So fortunately, Master Thorn is down in the lower southwestern portion of the map, and Madman Pass is just over here. But that's going to be quite challenging to get into because I'm going to need to roll some mountains to get in there, so that could slow me down. But it could potentially be worth it because I will get to resolve, one of those rewards on the quest, and also keep that quest, that completed quest, as a trophy that I'll be able to train with. So, but right now I don't get to. So I'm just going to hold on to that quest, and it'll stay with me until we resolve it. And really, that's my whole turn. So I did a movement for 1 action, and then I did an adventure for 2 actions. So that's my 3 actions spent. Now we have to advance the story timer. So the story track is on the left side of the board, and we move down 1, and we have to resolve whatever's in this in the next box. So this represents a story card. So we have to draw a story card. These do nothing. Story card, and then we have another symbol here which basically resets or refreshes all of the adventure tokens. So we move this here, and now I have to resolve a story card. So these story cards are specific to this scenario, and we will have to resolve the first one. So this one is called the Champion of Dawnsmoor. So a champion of the fighting pits of Dawnsmoor, the nameless warrior, has vowed to vanquish the undead and drive them from the land. So it's a story quest. I need to place 2 zombies in Dawnsmoor and 1 companion on this card. Heroes cannot shop in Dawnsmoor while there are zombies there. And to take an action, I could spend 1 trophy to take the companion from this card. So that's how I can gain a companion if I spend a trophy. And I have to clear the zombies out of Dawnsmoor. So let's go ahead and do that. Fortunately, all this activity is taking place down in the lower left quadrant of the map. So what I do is we have these story tokens. So this is story token number 1. I'm going to put that in Dawnsmoor, and I'm also going to add the 2 zombies. So these 2 black tokens are going to represent that in Dawnsmoor as well. So we know I have to go in there and clear that out, and I'm also going to have to put a champion on that card, or a companion. So the story cards, they go up here on the top of the board, and I will put my companion on top of that. Then I get to claim if I spend a trophy to take the companion from this card. Alright, so it goes back to my next turn, and I know I went ahead to Madman's Pass at some point. I don't have a trophy to claim that. So I think I'm going to start heading that way, but I'm going to try to, maybe I can clear some of these adventure zones. But let's move. So this time I have to move more than 1 square, so I'm going to need to roll some movement die. So let's pull back a bit. And I'm going to roll these 3 die and see what we get. Alright, so right here we've got plains and forests. 2 plains, 2 forests, water or mountains, right? So that's not great. So I know I want to go 1, 2, 3. So I have to, I don't think I have what it takes to go that way, but I definitely have the 2 plains to go this way. So I might as well do that. So I'll just go 1, 2 is my first action is to move. We're going to exhaust this social token, and then we are going to draw a social card and see what we get. Okay, so up here we draw our social card, and it is another quest, evacuate the area. So Vorkesh's minions have been uprooting folk in the southern plains. Many are fleeing to the great fortress of Sundergard. So I need to explore Sundergard. All right. Again, bottom of the map, Sundergard is here in the far east. So we essentially have to work in the lower half of the map, which is actually kind of great because I don't have to travel too far to do what I need to do. So that ends my turn because it was 2 actions to adventure, and we go back to the story track. Story track advances 1, nothing happens. Back to my turn. All right, we are going to move again and see what we get. All right, so we've got forest and hills and a wild. So that's actually quite good. So I could go, that actually might not be bad. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go hills, hills, and the wild for the mountains, and that'll be my movement, right? Hills, hills, mountains, and I will adventure on this orange one, combat. Now, typically these combat cards are just what they are, combat. So we'll see if we have to fight somebody. And yes, we have Beastman. Not sure if it's the Beastman, as in Skeletor's minion, but it's a Beastman nonetheless. So we have a 6 health creature, savage humanoid that we need to fight, and we get to see combat. So let's get to it. Okay, so we have our Beastman, and he has a few abilities that we need to be wary of. So he has, with 1 surge, he can use Claw, and that'll remove all of my shield tokens. Or with 2 surges, he can Enrage, and it will double all of his skulls, which are his damaging attacks, for the rest of this combat round. So let's go over the tokens now, and then I'll show you how combat works. Alright, so these are our tokens. So these are Master Thorn's combat tokens. So these symbols are magic damage, so those are how he does damage, so that would be 3 damage. On the flip side, you've got this, which equals, it's a doubler token, so I could, if I rolled a damage, I can put 1 token on top of it, and that would double the effect of that on the next time I use it. This is an agility token. This allows me to flip one of my tokens, unused tokens, to the other side, or force the enemy to recast one of his tokens. So he gets to re-roll it, essentially. The yellow versus the black represents initiative. So if after we cast our tokens, I have 1 yellow, he has none, I have initiative. If he has 1 and I have 1, the attacker always wins the tie, and I'm always the attacker, so I always win. If he has 2 and I have 1, he gets initiative. Initiative is very important because obviously, he who goes first has the option of canceling certain effects or kind of screwing with what tokens you've cast. So that's really it. And we're gonna cast all the tokens. We're gonna alternate turns using our tokens, and then that'll be the end of that combat round, and we'll keep fighting until one of us is dead. So what I do is I take all my tokens, I put them in this handy dandy bag. I find it's easier to mix them up in this way. Otherwise, in your hand, you don't get a good mix. And then I just cast them out on the table. Boom. So they're out in a pile. I know they got mixed up. I keep them all the way they were facing, and I'll separate mine from his. And then we will just go through and see, what kind of a roll we've got. So he's got 1 yellow to my 1 yellow, which means that we have a tie of initiative, and I'm going to get to go first. So I'm going to have to think about what he's going to want to do to me, and what I could do to best attack him. So I think right off the bat, I'm gonna use my agility token, and I'm going to. Yeah, this is tough. You know what? I think I'm just thinking if I want to use a surge or not. I could flip, but I probably nah. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this agility token. So that goes out off the table now. It's used, and I'm gonna force him to recast. I think this one here. So he's gonna recast this. Do I want him to do that? No, I'm gonna have him recast this. All right, so I'm just gonna shake it up. There's only one token. I don't think I need a bad for that. I'm gonna throw it down, and boom, he gets a miss. So that's what I wanted. That's really what I wanted to see. So now it's his turn, and what he's gonna do is he's just gonna go right at me and say, you know what? I'm gonna hit you. You can play all the same token at once. So he's gonna play all three of these skulls and say, I'm gonna nail you for 3 damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and take 3 damage onto my player card, and that's 3 of my 8 hit points. That's not good. So now it's back to me. I'm going to charge this magic attack, put it on the doubler. Goes back to him. He only has a shield and a miss, so he's gonna pass, right? And now I'm going to attack with this, and this is worth 2 attack now, not 1. So I'm going to do 2 damage to him, and he's going to throw up a shield and block it. And a shield doesn't count as a combat action. It's more of a reaction. So even if he had another action to take after that, he would just do it, and he'd still be able to do it. So he's only going to take 1 damage for that combat round, right? So I'm going to put 1 on his card now. So he's got 5 health left. I've got 5 health left. That's the end of the combat round because none of us have any other actions. So then we basically just take all the tokens back up in the bag, shake it up, and basically it's a rinse and repeat. So give it a good mix and see what we come out with. All right, so now that you got the gist of it, we're going to do this. We're going to move a little bit quicker. All right, so again, I've got 1 yellow to his 1 yellow, so I win initiative. So I get to go first, and I think what I'll do is I'm gonna. Now he's got a surge, right? So that'll remove all of my shields, and that's fine because I don't have any shields. I really don't care. I like to try to. I'm gonna use this. Do I want to flip? I'd like to get him to flip this so he doesn't get to use it. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to have him recast this. And he cast it again. So it doesn't matter. So his turn now. He's going to go ahead and... He's going to cast this. Because that's what I would do. And double that up to give himself 2 surges. Because 2 surges for him doubles all of the strength of his skulls for the rest of the combat round. I'm going to charge this. He's going to spend his surge. So now these are worth 4 combat. I'm going to attack him for 2. So now he's got 3 damage on him. And he's going to hit me for 4 more. And that's going to bring me to 7 damage. So that's the end of that combat round, right? So he's got 3 more health. And I've got 1 more health. So I have a choice now. I can retreat and run out of here, or I can try to beat him with this last round of combat. And I think I'm going to try to go out. If I can do 3 damage to him before he damages me, I think I'm in good shape. So let's see what happens. So I've got 2 surges and a whole lot of nothing to his. Well, he's got a surge, he's got all sorts of goodies here. And I've got initiative, but I have got no damage tokens here. I can flip tokens, which is fine, but I also have these 2 surges. And what that'll do is, for the rest of this combat round, after you take damage from an attack, deal equal amount of damage back. And that's really not going to help me here at all. So he's probably gonna kill me. Yeah, I think he's gonna kill me. So, what could I possibly do here? There really isn't much I can do. I can't hurt him. I can recast. I could flip. that's not going to help. It's only going to do 2 damage to him, and then he's going to kill me. So, if I, I basically could, could flip this, or I could cast this and do mind meld. Okay, I'm going to put that out, and I'm mind melding him, right? So he's going to just say, you know what? Okay, fine, whatever. I'm going to do 2 damage to you. He's going to take 2 damage, but that's not enough to kill him anyway, and I'm dead. So I'm going to take. I've got 8 damage on me, right? Because that's enough to kill me. And it's good you see. It's not good you see this, but it's part of the game, so you got to be used to it. Dying in this game isn't terrible. He gets discarded, so now I don't get to claim him. But once you die, you basically get knocked out. So poor old Master Thorn just got whacked, and that's the end of my turn. So we'll have to rest up and try to get some health back after this turn. And the fact that I'm on a mountain makes it even worse. Alright, so we will advance the story track one, and then we will try to rest. Okay, so I'm going to rest. And the way resting works is going to cost me 1 action, and you roll all 5 terrain dice. And I just have to roll matching terrain that I'm on. And I am on a mountain. So I need to roll mountains to heal. So I rolled 2 mountains and a wild, so I'm going to take 3 health back. So I'm back up to, I have 5 wounds on me, so I'm back up to 3 health, right? So he stands up though, now I'm actually able to move and take another action. So what I think I'll do is I'll do a move action, and I'm going to go into, I'm not going to roll because I'm only going to move 1 square to the adjacent into Madman Pass. Okay? So now that I'm in Madman Pass, I'm going to use my final action to explore. And I'm going to explore on this quest Madman's Pass. It only takes 1 action, right? So this is my 3rd action for the turn. Now I get to roll my 3 dice, and depending on what I roll, that's going to determine what kind of reward I get. So roll 3 dice, and I have to try to match, right? So I didn't match any of them, so I am not going to claim a prize, but I can try this again on my next turn. But that was my 3rd action, so I'm now going to have to advance the story track. All right, so the story track's going to advance, and I'm going to need to draw another story card. Alright, so I draw a story card, and we get Dark Rituals. So the innocents abducted by Vorakish's minions are sometimes found with their hearts cut out. Place 1 zombie in each shrine. Heroes cannot trade goods in shrines with zombies. A hero that kills a zombie in a shrine rolls 1 terrain die. If he or she does not roll a terrain symbol that matches his or her hex, that hero discards 1 companion. Alright, so we need to populate all of the shrines with zombies. Okay, back to Master Thorn. So Master Thorn is a Madman Pass. I've populated all of the shrines with zombies, and Madman's Pass happens to be a shrine, so a zombie appeared, and anytime you're going to enter a hex with a zombie, I have to take 2 damage. So I'm going to take that 2 damage. It's not going to kill me, but it's going to hurt me. And now I can start taking action. So my first action is going to be to kill this zombie, and I just have to spend an action to do that. So I spend it, he dies. I gain 1 gold for doing that every time I kill a zombie. So kill the zombie, that's done. My second action is going to be to rest. And since I'm resting in a location, like it's not considered the wilderness, so shrine, a town, a stronghold, you just have to do rest. You don't have to roll, you heal up to full. So now I'm at full health. That was my second action. My third action is I'm going to explore again and try to solve this quest. So I'm going to roll my 3 movement die, and I still don't think I got it. So no, because I need to roll at least 1 mountain. So basically I need a mountain and a plain, a mountain and a hill, or 2 mountains and a plain. So that's yet another turn that I'm sort of delayed and stuck in Madman's Pass. So this could cost me later, but that ends my turn. So the story track goes down one, and this symbol means that I refresh all of the adventure tokens that I'm not currently standing on. So I will go ahead and do that. Alright, back to Madman's Pass. We are going to do the Narrow Passage quest once again. So, I'm going to roll my 3 dice, and now we are looking for mountains. Alright, so we have a mountain and a field. I got it, finally. Didn't get the hill, so I'm just going to take it. So, gain 1 gold and spend 1 action for free. Okay, so I will gain my gold, and I will spend 1 action for free. So that was my first action, was exploring this. Now I keep this as a trophy, so this just goes face down in my inventory, right? So I get to spend 1 action for free. So I will move here so that it doesn't cost me an action. I've only taken 1, and that was to explore. So now I'm going to spend my other 2 to adventure in this location. So let's go draw a card. This is probably going to be another fight. So we pull a Moonbeam Cat. It's an enemy. 6 health. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is a mystic creature with 6 health, but this enemy takes 2 damage instead of 1 for each magic attack that is not blocked. So he's susceptible to magic, which is right up my alley. 1 surge for Terrify. I would have to discard a skill at random from my hand, and 2 surges is a full moon. He can recast up to 3 of his spent tokens. That's not cool at all. Alright, so let's cast the tokens and see what happens. Alright, so I've got the bag full of tokens. Remember, it's the same tokens we used before. Nothing's changed. It's just a different creature now. It's going to have different surge abilities. So I will separate everything. He's got 1 initiative. I have 1 initiative, so I'm going to get to go first. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Mind Meld, right? So every damage he does to me, he's going to take 1 back, right? And what he's going to do is double up his, he's going to double up his skulls, because he's going to do damage to me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast 2 magic bolts at him. And he's going to block 1 of them, right? Boom, and that's a free action for him. So 1's going to go through, and it's actually going to do 2 damage to him because it does double damage. Alright, so now it's his turn. He's going to do 2 damage to me. So I'm going to take 2 damage, but he's going to take 2 more because of Mind Meld, because it reflects back to him. So those go away. He doesn't get to use this, and now he's got 1 surge, and your foe discards 1 skill at random from his or her hand. So I will take my hand, mix them up a little bit, and I will discard 1. And that ends that round of combat. So I think this one will probably get resolved pretty quickly. I feel I have somewhat of an edge here with this double damage. So I'm going to mix them up, drop them out, see what we got. Alright, so he's got some initiative here. That doesn't look good. Oh, but I've got 2. Alright, very nice. Alright, so I'm not liking the fact that he's got shields. Okay, so he's going to get to block me again, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 2 attacks on him. You know, two magic attacks. Boom, he's going to block 1, and that's fine. But the other one's going to go through and it's going to do 2 damage to him. So now he's taken 6 wounds and he's dead. So that's the beauty of initiative, right? So you get to do your attacks first and hopefully you can kill him off. So I now, that he's full up on damage, get to claim him and his reward. So on the bottom of the card, it's going to say what I get as a reward, and I'm going to gain 2 gold for that. And I flip him over and he becomes a trophy. So 2 gold, that brings my purse up to 6. Alright, so I've got my 1 quest left. I've got 2 trophies, 6 gold, and 2 wounds I'm carrying, right? I've also got 2 cards left in my hand, and now I can train one of these for free if I wish to pay the cost, right? So gain 1 gold whenever you gain a trophy. This one I can't use because it's strength or body, or gain 1 gold. Or whenever you rest, you may also train for free. That's meditation. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, spend this trophy to train the offertory, and that's going to give me that 1 extra gold whenever I train, whenever I gain a trophy. So that'll help me later on. Now I could train another one, but I do. Whenever you rest, you may also train for free. Should I do it? Yeah, I think so. So I'm also gonna train this, right, with this trophy. So I'm gonna spend both my trophies, and that's gonna give me meditation. So next time I rest, I get to draw up my hand limit and refresh my cards. So that's nice. So I'll put these both in the discard pile. All right, since I was into my turn, I have to move the track down 1. Nothing happens that time. All right, and I think we need to get out of these mountains. So let's roll them up and see. We'll do our first action will be to move. Let's see what we can do here. So I've got a wild, either 2 hills or 2 grasslands, right? So that's actually not bad. So I'm going to use this wild to do the mountain. I'm going to use this hill and this hill here. So I'm going to go here, and we are going to use our second 2 actions to explore an adventure on this social. So we will draw a purple. What do we get? This is an event, Tales of Old. The man dressed in tattered clothes is loitering by the side of the road. He offers to sing you a song. So I can test my mind, which is good, to have him begin the sad tale of Timoran Locander. Look at the top 3 cards. All right, let's go do this. All right, so let's actually right here. Look at the top 3 cards of the exploration deck, right? And choose 1 to draw and shuffle. Choose 1 to draw and shuffle the others into the deck, and then discard this card. So I get to keep 1. I get to basically handpick 1 of those. Or I can test strength to convince the bar to give you his purse. Gain 1 gold and take this card as a trophy. Well, considering I have no strength whatsoever, I'm going to have to test my mind. All right, we'll get to do an attribute test, so this is good. So what I'm looking for is I'm going to draw the amount of cards off of this skill pile equal to the attribute I'm testing. So I'm testing my mind, and my mind is 3, so I get to draw 3 cards. And I'm looking for a little star symbol on the side of the card to show a success. And I just have to pull 1, and that means I've passed, right? And I will pull the first one. So the first one I pull has that star symbol, so it's a success. I don't have to pull anymore. So I've passed the brain test, the mind test. So now I'm going to have him begin his sad tale of Timoran Locander. Now I'm going to go look at the top 3 cards of that deck and choose 1, right? And then I have to discard this, so I don't get to keep this as a trophy. All right, so I'm going to discard that, but we're going to pull the top 3 and see which one we want. So all 3 are quests. Now we've got Greenwood, Minaris, Teeth, and the Gardens of Thorn. So I'm basically going to want to do one that's close, and as I can see real quickly on the map, Greenwood is actually where I'm in the direction I'm heading. So I'm going to take this quest, and I'm going to put that over with my gear, and I'm going to shuffle the 2 of these back into the deck. Alright, time marches on. We have to pull another story card. These story cards are not good. Alright, so the next one is Undead Assault. Let's see what that is. Even the holdfasts and castles of Terranorth are not safe from Vorkesh's ghoulish minions. Place 1 zombie in each stronghold. Heroes cannot trade goods in strongholds with zombies. Who would want to trade with a zombie anyway? A hero that kills a zombie rolls 1 terrain die. If he does not roll a terrain symbol that matches his or her hex, that hero discards 1 companion. So, that is not good. So let us go, and I will populate all of these strongholds. Alright, back to Master Thorn. We are going to continue moving for our first action to get out of these mountains. So He's going to use his wild to go in the hills. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, that's my first action. My second action will be to... Oh boy, alright, so I think we're going to have to go into Sunder Guard. That'll be my second action. I'll use one move and I'll just move into the adjacent square. So I'm going to have to do some combat here. So whenever a hero enters a hex with a zombie, I take 2 damage. So I'm gonna go up to 4 damage. Automatic. So I just took 2 damage just for going in there. That was my second action. So for my third, I'm going to kill him. So I kill him, and I have to roll 1 terrain die, and I have to match the hex. Otherwise, I have to discard one of my companions. So I roll a terrain die, and it's a wild, so I'm going to say that matches. So I don't have to lose a companion. So he's dead. I get a gold for that. I've cleared out Sunder Guard, but that's the last of my actions. So it took me 3 actions to do that, so we're going to have to move the track again. So we advance 1 more. Okay, back in Sunder Guard. I have a quest. Evacuate the area. So now I have to explore Sunder Guard. So again, I roll 3 die, and we see if we can match any of these symbols. Oh, okay. So I matched the first one, aid in the evacuation. No bonus. No bonus. So I'd love to roll some wilds here, but I don't think I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to take the no bonus, but I do get the quest as a trophy, so I just don't want to waste any more time. That was my first action. I have to keep pressing on. So I'm going to go on a second action, and we're going to move. So we're going to roll the dice, and now I roll one of those. Okay, great. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go into Riverwatch, and for my third action, I'm going to rest and get rid of all of my wounds. So now I'm back to full health. We're in a city. And I think what we're doing is we're going to do some shopping next turn, because I have a pretty good amount of gold, and we'll see what kind of goods that Riverwatch holds. Alright, we get another quiet round on the track. Okay, so our first action will be to shop, and then we have a choice of some items in Riverwatch. So the way shopping works is I've got 3 items displayed. At the start of the shop round, you bring in 1 additional item for 4, and then we can buy one. So I can afford everything but the Shards of Fate. So rich clothes. When you buy this asset, draw 1 social card. You have +1 to all attributes during tests. Very nice. So I guess you have an automatic social event when you put on your rich clothing. I can get material for free, and I could trade this in at a stronghold for 2 gold, which isn't bad. It's just a way to make money, like ferrying goods. Or I could buy the Ring of Strength, which will just give me +1 health. I think we're going to go with the fancy duds. So 3 gold, that's easy, no problem. I'll pay that 3. And I'm going to get to draw this card, and this is another quest, and this is a quest for the Exile Peak. So I'm not quite sure we are going to be anywhere near Exile Peak, but it goes in our quest pool. So I'm going to equip these. You're allowed 1 of each clothing item. This one doesn't come with any bonus tokens, unfortunately. It's just giving us passive abilities, so we'll throw these on. So I will equip his rich clothing. Now he's got a shirt on his back. Again, I'm in town. That was my first action. I think for my second we're going to train, so I'm going to draw up 4 cards. So I need to get some cards back in my hand. And we'll discard 1. We're clearly going to discard the strength one, so I'll get rid of that. I got a couple more cards here. I could have got rid of this one too. But they're all a little bit more expensive than I can afford right now. So I'm going to need to get some more tokens. See, the black market, once per turn, I spend 1 action to shop as if I were in any city. Wow, so that means I can just buy goods while I'm on the road. Actually, I shouldn't. I'm not going to count that action because when I rested here last turn, I should have trained for free with meditation. So I definitely am going to take advantage of that. And with this trophy, I also should have got a gold from this offeratory skill. So we'll make that right now. So I took my gold, got my trophy, trained for free. I still have 2 actions, so it's not going to be enough to go adventure, but at least we can get moving. All right, so let's roll our movement die. I mean, I could go shopping again and hope I get another item, a good item, but I don't think I want to waste any more time here. So we roll I'll do plains, and then I'll use the wild to go in the forest. So I'm in the Greenwood Forest, and I've got one more action. Unfortunately, I have a Greenwood Forest quest called The Last Gasp. I have to explore the Greenwood and hopefully roll some forests here. So let's see if we can get some bonuses. All right, so I've got 2. Hey, look at that. So I've got 2 forests and a wild, and that's exactly what I needed for the second one. So steal supplies. Take 1 asset from Riverwatch's market and discard this card. So I'm going to discard this. I don't get it as a trophy, but I get to take 1 asset from the Riverwatch market, and we were just there, right? So I will... See, now that, remember, there's assets and there's goods. Assets are like equipment, and goods are like this material. So what I think I'm going to do is anytime you interact with this market, you got to put, there should always be 3 goods in the market. So I'm going to draw the market card, right, to give us 4. And then I'm going to take one of them. And I'm going to take the Shards of Fate because it's worth 9 gold. So that actually worked out really well. So with the Shards of Fate, so for 1 surge, I could flip all of my unspent tokens, or I could flip all of my foes' unspent tokens, right? And I also get another token to add to my combat token pool. So I'm going to fish that out and then equip all of this. All right, so we will equip our asset, and we are allowed to have 1 of each type of asset: clothing, equipment, I think weapons, armor, and like 1 other. Clothing, equipment, goods, movement, and weapon. There you go. Clothing, equipment, goods, movement, and weapon. Now, on the bottom of the card, it tells you what category it is. So in this case, this is equipment, and the rich clothes are obviously clothing. I've also found the corresponding token, which gives me either 2 surges or a doubler effect. So that is going to go in the combat bag with the rest of my tokens, and I will cast it during combat. So that is awesome. And I believe that's the end of my turn. We move the timer down 1 more, and we have to draw another story card. So we draw Hero of Forge. The great dwarven hero Finna repelled an assault of Orcish's minions, and her stubborn hatred for the undead burns bright and hot. So I gotta place 2 zombies in Forge and 1 companion on this card. Heroes cannot shop in Forge while there are zombies here. Alright, wow, 3 actions to take the companion from this card. Alright, so I will set that up. Alright, I think for our next turn we need to start moving. Let's roll them up. Alright, so I've got 1 for plains, and I have 1 water. So now whenever you cross a river on this map, you have to pay water regardless of what the hex is on the other side of the river. So I have to pay 1 water to cross the river. So that's my movement, and I'm going to spend 2 actions to do this explore adventure. I'll draw a green card. Okay, so we have Shadows in the Night event. Someone or something is watching your camp during the night. Discard cards from the combat deck until you discard an enemy. Fight that enemy and test strength. If you fail, okay. He's got +3 health for the duration of the combat. Otherwise, fight it with its normal health. Take this card as a trophy after resolving combat, whether or not you defeat the enemy. Or become delayed and slip past your unwanted visitor and take this card as a trophy. So I've got something stalking me. I could fight it and give it 3 additional health. Or I could become delayed and take this card as a trophy. What do we do? I think I'm going to become delayed. Alright, so he is delayed. Just laying down. And I just need to spend my next action standing him back up before I can move again. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. So I'll slip past my unwanted guest, take this card as a trophy. I also get 1 gold with that because of the offeratory. Actually, no, I don't, because it's not one of these. It's one of these, so actually I don't get that gold. Go back. And that's it. So I've got 2 trophies. See if I can train, because you still can train. Not train, but learn a skill when you're delayed. That's okay. And I can do the black market. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to train this. Just because it's a pretty hot card, I think. So I'm going to spend both of these. So it's going to cost me exactly that. 1 green and 1 purple. So now I can spend an action and shop as if I were in any city. And I can purchase out of the black market. I think that's a powerful card. So we are at the end of our turn. We need to go to the story track one more time. Alright, we've reached the last part of the story track, so I'll have to refresh all of these tokens, which I didn't really do much of them, and the one I'm on doesn't get refreshed. And that ends, so I get 1 more turn, so we'll take 1 more turn, and then it's going to turn over to Act 2. Alright, so he's going to spend 1 action to stand up. I'm going to spend my... Oh boy, do I want to kill that zombie? Oh, I do. But do I have the time? Yeah, might as well. So I'm going to move 1. I'm going to take 2 damage, because every time I enter a square with a zombie, I take 2 damage. And I'm going to use my second action to kill the zombie. But I'm also going to gain a gold, because I killed the zombie. And I have 1 more action. So, actually no, I stood up, I moved, I killed the zombie. That's it. All 3 actions are done. I finished my last turn. We are going to set up Act 2. I don't feel like I've done quite enough. I don't have enough companions. I have 1, so I've got to find a way to start getting those. But I think that'll be my goal next round, at least before the Corpse King shows himself. So that's it. That's the end of this video. I'm not gonna start round 2 until the next video, or Act 2 till the next video. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough so far. Not a ton of combat, but I think enough that'll give you an idea. And I know we're gonna come into some combat soon. I can feel it. So thanks for watching. Please, as always, add any comments or rules, updates, or corrections in the comment field, and hopefully we'll get those fixed in later versions of this, later parts of this series. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.